The United States and 11 other countries reaching a historic trade deal earlier this week. Now, supporters of the deal claim it will open up new markets. There's the map. Open up new markets for U.S. goods and services and help the American worker. Some even calling this the trade deal of the century. But is it really, or is it just another bad deal? And by the way, Congress has 90 days right now to review this whole pact before President Obama can sign it into law. Joining me now, Peter Morici, University of Maryland economist, and back on the Vince Colonnese. Peter, let me start with you because you wrote a piece saying that this is not a good deal for the American worker.
Absolutely not. The biggest advocates are people like Nike, who basically want to outsource American jobs, produce the goods in Asia, and bring them back here. Drug companies, they're only going to get 5 years of protection on some of their drugs. So how are they going to get the money back if Vietnam is selling its people or Japan is selling their people knockoffs? They're going to charge us more. It's going to raise our taxes to basically finance Medicare and Medicaid. But the big elephant in the room, the thing that so many of us wanted addressed, was Japanese currency manipulation. The undervalued yen, a big part of AB's economic program. The deal does nothing about that we don't already have. The bottom line here is we've opened up our markets further, and we're getting very little in the way of additional protections or market access. You know,
to Peter's point, Vince, they were popping the champagne in Japan. They said this is Abe's big victory. He took a victory lap. It's going to rejuvenate Japan's economy. But why did we sign it? I just don't get it. I understand that the argument was, well, this will give us sort of a buffer against China and help us compete in the region against China. But it seems like, to Peter's point, it's another stupid deal.
Well, I think the Republican support that you've heard, and mostly muted in terms of its public pronouncements because this is an Obama-led deal, and Republicans generally are urging caution on anything that Obama especially can secretly negotiate. But I think the support that exists is probably because, one, the president ideologically generally has this view that the whole world should sort of be borderless, including both in our business and our actual borders, by the way. And I think he sees this as a great sort of legacy piece for him. And this affects, by the way, something like 40% of the global economy, this deal. It's a huge thing. And I think President Obama at this point is looking for some legacy pieces before he steps out.
But Vince, what about the Republicans, though? How do these Republicans go back to their constituents and say, we've entered into another deal? I think everyone believes in the term fair trade, and I think we all understand that, listen, America is only a small part of the globe, and we want access to markets, but none of these deals end up giving us the access that was promised.
Right, and that's the giant caution that's being thrown up by people like, by the way, Hillary Clinton, who was supporting passing it in the first place and who's now opposed to it. Yeah, I think people are very concerned about that. Republicans have generally preached free markets because they believe that all boats can rise by doing this. But as Peter pointed out, currency manipulation really throws a wrench into that if you're cheating in the game.
Peter, I'm not sure if there's going to be any real pushback and this thing goes through in 90 days or so. How will it look a few years down the road? I mean, will it be sort of a NAFTA after effect, or our trade relationship with China? How will this actually impact us down the road?
Well, I think China's going to profit a great deal from this deal. For example, the content requirements for automobiles, which are at about 62% right now inside of NAFTA, to move the goods across border, goes down to 40%. A good accountant can basically help the Japanese bring in lots of auto parts, snap them together in Mexico or snap them together in Japan and send them to the United States. The automobile industry is going to take a big hit on this thing. The UAW, the Canadian UAW, I'm not usually aligned with labor, but on this one, they're right. And that repeats itself in other industries. Mr. Obama did not negotiate hard on behalf of America's workers.
Right.
I could have come home with a better deal.
You know what? Hopefully one day we'll actually sing you out to fix this. Peter, Vince, thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you again.